So how do you run wires for speakers in a room that's already finished? Ideally, if you can run the wires through the walls before the drywall goes up, that's the best situation, because then the wires are out of sight, they're totally hidden. That's the best way. But what if your room is already finished and you need to install speakers, and how do you hide the wires? That's what we're going to be talking about today. So if you have a room that's already finished and you want to add speakers to that room, how do you run the wires? This is the situation that I found myself in just recently. So this room, my home theater, used to be an unfinished basement, and I decided I wanted to build a theater in here, and so I finished the basement, and in the process I ran the cabling and the wiring for a 7.4.4 system. And so all the cables are in the wall, hidden away, out of sight. But after a couple years of having my theater, I wanted to add an extra set of sides, but I didn't have the wires run to those locations. Now, all of my equipment is at the front of the room, and my equipment rack is in a closet that's in the front corner. So I needed to figure out how to get cables from that closet to these two side locations. So what I ended up doing, and again, this isn't ideal and it's not perfect, but sometimes you just got to go with what you have. And so what I did is I drilled through the wall at the front of the room directly into the closet, ran the cables down to the rack, and then from there out, I ran them along the wall and then along between the ceiling and this bulkhead down to this speaker and then across to that speaker. But I needed some way to secure the cables to the wall and to hide them as well as possible. And so after looking online, I searched Amazon. I didn't really find any good options. There were some cable, it's called a cable Raceway, was what I found they're typically called. So I searched cable Raceway, but the few that I did find on Amazon that actually looked like something that I would want to use, they were really expensive, and for the length that I was going for, it was going to cost a lot of money. So I didn't want to go that route. What I ended up finding was a Raceway from a company that I'd never heard of, but they had a website, and so I ordered them, and they came, and they work great. So I will link to that particular Raceway in the description box. And this particular model, they have varying widths. I think there's like 2 or 3 different widths that you can choose from depending on how many wires you need to fit in there. I got the smallest one, so it's only 3/4 of an inch wide. And so you can see what I've done. I've run it there, and it's black. And so once I got it installed, the black, it didn't look too bad. But in one of my earlier videos, a viewer commented and said, you know, you really should paint that Raceway. And the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what, they're right. So I went ahead and painted it, and now I think it looks pretty good. One of the things that I was concerned about was how to get around like corners and go around, elbows, changing directions, that sort of thing. And so I got kind of out in the weeds of searching online, trying to find like elbow pieces and corner pieces. And then I saw a picture where somebody had just left those small little sections just open, and the wire is visible in those sections. And again, it's not ideal, but I looked at it and I thought, that doesn't look bad. And especially I painted the cable. So when I painted the Raceway, I painted that section of the cable, and I think it looks fine. Now, I'm not super uptight about that kind of stuff. I do like a clean look, but I feel like these turned out pretty well. So again, if this is something that you're needing to do, and this Raceway looks like something that would work for you, I have a link to it down in the description box. Check it out, and you can see what I've done, and maybe it'll give you some ideas. Even if you don't do exactly the same thing, it'll give you some ideas of what will work in your room. So now I've got 2 extra set of speakers, or 1 set of 2 extra speakers, and I think it looks good. Thanks for watching.